Welcome to your weekly Open the Door to Tai Chi lesson. You know, improving balance is one of the many benefits of doing Tai Chi. And there are lots of things that go into improving your balance. The principles of, understanding, distinguishing between substantial and insubstantial, making sure your columns are intact, that you are suspended from the crown of your head, yet rooted and grounded. Even things like relaxation and breathing and being open and rounded actually improve your balance as well. The thing about balance is there are mistakes that people make that they don't even realize they're making. So I thought it would be good to go through some of the balance mistakes so that you can correct them if you see them in yourself or you see them in your students if you're an instructor. So the first thing that's really obvious is tightening up when you lose your balance. Isn't that the most natural response, right? You're kicking and you start to lose your balance and you tighten up, right? That's the first thing you do. What we need to learn to do is to be relaxed. Think about that relaxation. Think about breathing deeply as we do our movements, that when we do start to lose our balance, just relax and breathe. Right? One of the other mistakes that's very, very common, especially in new people, is not understanding that open roundedness. When we stand on one leg, we need to have that knee soft, rounded. It's just like we don't straighten our arms in single whip or in brush knee, right? We don't want this knee to be locked either. That supporting leg needs to be soft and rounded as we move into our one-legged stances. So that's a mistake that often happens. People will lock their knees, and it's actually really bad for your balance. It also blocks the flow of energy, blocks the blood flow. We don't want to have locked joints. Initiating from the head or initiating the movement from your head or your shoulders instead of from the dantian. Remember, we want to move from the dantian, right? This is what you see with brush knee, right? People initiate that movement with their head and with their shoulders, maybe with their hands, but it's really head and shoulders is what's happening. And clearly that's not a balanced position when you start and move like this. Thinking about, obviously you're not moving from the dantian, but what happens here is that back heel lifts as well. So you're not rooted and grounded. When you correct that and you think about moving from the dantian, and you can stay rooted and grounded, you can stay rounded and soft, you're balanced in this position, your columns are intact, you're suspended from the crown of your head. You can't be suspended from the crown of your head if you're leading like this. Leading from the dantian is most important. What happens when you can actually lead from the dantian is now you can distinguish clearly between substantial and insubstantial, because you do have that column intact. You have this dantian over the base of support so that you have the ability to distinguish between substantial and insubstantial. You're not falling forward. You'll see people do brush knee like this where they're really just shuffling or falling forward. I'm going to turn and face this way now, where if you do your brush knee, you have that support That leg is slightly bent. You can clearly distinguish and choose to step forward. Dantian over this base of support, you can clearly distinguish between that substantial and insubstantial and choose to step forward. Practicing slowly like this is really good to practice that balance. So being relaxed, being able to use your breathing, distinguishing substantial and insubstantial, moving from the dantian. One of the other common mistakes is people want to look where they're going. And that's not looking at the horizon. That's the correct way. People look down at where are my feet. And clearly, this is what happens. All of the energy starts to go down. This is not a balanced position if you're looking. If you're kicking and you're looking down and trying to see where you're going, that's not part of balance. Looking at the horizon, lifting, remember being suspended from the crown of your head, keeping those columns intact, and understanding where your energy is flowing with this movement. If we just use the two movements that we've done here, kick, smash, and box the ears, and brush, knee. If you think about the martial arts application of that movement, right, you're blocking something low, trying to hit something higher. You can't be looking down like this. You have to be looking at your opponent. You can't be leading from your head and shoulders, lifting that back heel. You're not rooted and grounded. You're not stable against your opponent. Your energy cannot be going into your opponent with full force if you're not balanced, right? You have to be balanced in order to apply that movement with the intent and purpose that it means. Think about your kick, smash, and box the ears in the same way. If you are looking down as you're boxing the ears and just falling forward, there's no power in that movement. You're not understanding what you're doing. You have to move from the dantian, keeping your columns intact, being suspended from the crown of your head, understanding that relaxation so that you can remain balanced. A good way to practice this is to just lift, almost like a pheasant stands, but just stand. See if you can think about relaxing. Is my supporting leg nice and bent? Am I open and rounded? Am I suspended from the crown of my head? Are my columns intact? Are my eyes on the horizon? Just take some time to stand on one leg and put it all together.